Hello friends, I'm Soni and I'll be your trainer for today's session. We've done all the parts of speech by now. We've done them all in detail. So today what we'll do is a recap because there were 8 parts of speech and you might have forgotten some or you might have some doubts. So today we'll do a revision and a recap of all the parts of speech. So let's start with the session today. What are the different parts of speech? There are 8 parts of speech. Nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, interjections, and prepositions. So we'll start with the first part of speech, that is the noun. What is a noun? A noun is the name of a person, place, animal, thing, or an idea. It is just a name given to any of these. Now, how many types of nouns did we do? Anything you remember? Right? We had done the common noun, the proper noun, the abstract noun, the collective noun, and the material noun. So we had done 5 types of nouns. I hope you remember a single line definition of all of them. We'll just check because when I'll do exercises, I'll come to know whether you people remember what each type meant. So, in the sentence, the boy is studying. What do you think is the noun? Yes, pick out the noun in the sentence. The boy is studying. The noun is boy, right? Because it tells you the name of a person or the class to which a person belongs. Now, what type of noun is boy? Is it a proper noun or a common noun? A common noun because there can be many boys. It is not a specific boy we are talking about. So, boy is the noun and it is a common noun. Next, Manish is a nice boy. Manish is a nice boy. What all nouns do you have? One is Manish and the other is boy. Now boy is a common noun, we already know. What about Manish? Is Manish a common noun? No, it's a proper noun. Why? Because Manish is a specific name given to a boy. We had done that proper nouns are specific or unique names given to a person, place or thing. So Manish becomes a proper noun. The dog is barking. Which is the noun? It's dog and dog is a common noun. This house is beautiful. What do you think is the noun? House, and house is a common noun. So boy, dog, house and Manish were the nouns in these sentences. Now, let's just briefly discuss the types of noun. We did the common noun, which was relating to a name of any person, place or thing, the class in general. Then the proper noun, which was about the specific or unique name given to an object. The collective noun, which was, yes, right, a name given to a group of nouns. For example, team, a team of players, a class of students. The team and the class are collective nouns. What was the abstract noun? Yes, we had done the abstract noun. It is something which you cannot see or which does not have a physical existence. That is, it is something abstract like hunger, warmth, happiness. These are all examples of abstract nouns. Then we did the material nouns. As the name suggests, material means something which is used to make another thing, like wood, plastic, thread, paper. So these were broadly the types of nouns. If you remember, we had also discussed about singular nouns and plural nouns. Yes, singular noun referred to a single quantity, one, and plural meant more than one. For example, the noun boy. Boy is singular. And what would be the plural of boy? Boys. More than one boy means plural, boys. Similarly, man, M-A-N. M-A-N is singular. And more than one, men, M-E-N. And do you remember the special case we had talked about? Sheep, S-H-E-E-P. What is the plural of sheep? I had told you at least 5 times. Right, very good. It is sheep, no change. No sheeps or sheepies. It is simply sheep. Then we had also discussed about singular possessive and plural possessive. Right? So in order to make a singular noun possessive, you just add an apostrophe followed by an S, like boys, B-O-Y apostrophe S, girls, G-I-R-L apostrophe S. And how do you make a plural noun plural possessive? Now there is a catch out here. If the plural noun ends with an S, then you just add an apostrophe after that. But if it does not end with the S, then you need to add an apostrophe followed by an S. These were some things that we had done when we had done the session on nouns. Now let's go ahead and check how much do you remember and how much do you score today. We'll go ahead and do a little exercise. You need to pick out the nouns in the following statements and also decide whether they are common, proper, abstract, collective or material. So now your job is a bit more tough. First, you need to find the noun in the sentence and then you need to decide which type of noun it is. So let's get started with the exercise. I'll read out the sentence. You underline the noun and just below the noun write whether it's common, proper, abstract, collective or material. Let's start with the exercise. The first sentence. That holiday was the best I'd ever had in England. That holiday was the best I'd ever had in England. Next, he's obviously the leader of the gang. He's obviously the leader of the gang. Underline the noun and tell the type as well. Next, his behavior simply amazes me and I can't go on with this job. His behavior simply amazes me and I can't go on with this job. Next, every winter we used to go to Scotland for skiing. Every winter we used to go to Scotland for skiing. Next, Preeti is weary of the life she leads. Preeti is weary of the life she leads. Weary means she's tired of the life. Next, the government has decided to cut taxes. The government has decided to cut taxes. I hope all of you have done the exercise and underlined the nouns. Let's go ahead and check what you've done today. Let's start with the solutions. That holiday was the best I'd ever had in England. Now, which all nouns have you picked up? There are two nouns there. One is holiday, which is a common noun because it's a general word. And second is England, which is a proper noun. Why? Because it is the name, a specific name given to a place. So we had holiday as the common noun and England as the proper noun, right? Second sentence. He's obviously the leader of the gang. Again, there are two nouns. One is leader, which is a common noun. Anyone could be a leader of any gang. And the second is gang, which is a collective noun. Why? Because gang refers to a group of people. So we had two nouns, leader being a common noun and gang being a collective noun. Next, his behavior simply amazes me and I can't go on with this job. There are two nouns again. First is behavior, which is an abstract noun because it has no physical existence. And second is job, which is a common noun. You can go for any kind of job. Next, every winter we used to go to Scotland for skiing. Again, you have two nouns. One is winter, which is a common noun, and the other is Scotland, which becomes a proper noun. Good. Now you're understanding the difference between the common and the proper noun. Next, Preeti is weary of the life she leads. Now Preeti is the name of a girl, a specific girl. So Preeti becomes the good, proper noun, and life becomes an abstract noun. You can't touch life, you can't see life, it just goes on. So life becomes the abstract noun. The last sentence, the government has decided to cut taxes. Now government is a group of people working, so government becomes a collective noun and tax is a common noun in general. So this was all about nouns. We've revised the nouns. We had two sessions which had covered nouns in detail. So this was a small recap of those two sessions. Let's now do a recap of verbs. Now, what is a verb? What do you remember? A verb is a word that expresses an action or the state of being. Action could be any action like walking, reading, sitting, laughing, studying, and other words like is, am, was, were. All these also are counted as verbs. Because they express a state of being. Let's see an example and you check whether you can find out the verb or not. I am a good girl. In this case, am becomes the verb because it shows the state of the object. Next, she passed the examination. What did she do? She passed it. So past becomes the action verb here. We had also gone through the different kinds of verbs. We had done the action verb, the linking verb, the transitive verb and intransitive verb, the finite verb, the non-finite verb. I hope you remember all of these. I'll just do a quick recap of each. The transitive verb. Now, transitive verbs were also action verbs, but then the action verb was followed by an object. In case of intransitive verb, they are also action verbs, but then there is no object following the verb. In case of finite verbs, they are the forms where the verb depicts a tense or a person, in the sense that by looking at the verb, you can come to know whether you're talking of the past, present, or future, and whether you're talking of a singular noun or a plural noun. This is what we mean by a finite verb. And what was a non-finite verb? Right, it was a verb which did not show about the tense, whether the action was done today, yesterday, or will it be done tomorrow, and it does not tell about the form of the noun, whether it's a singular noun or a plural noun. So these were the kinds of verbs that we had discussed. Now let's go to an exercise, because until we do the exercise, we'll not be sure whether we remember all the types or not. So in this exercise, you need to choose the correct option. Number 1, we plan dash to London next year. We plan dash to London next year. Your options are traveling or to travel. Traveling or to travel. Select the correct option and check which one is the appropriate one. Next, I'm afraid I don't recollect dash an exam today. I'm afraid I don't recollect dash an exam today. The two options are to have or having. Next, Peter reminded me dash my medicine. Peter reminded me dash my medicine. The two options, to take or taking. Next, we postponed dash until the following week. We postponed dash until the following week. The two options are to meet or meeting. So they were very simple exercise. I hope you've all done it, and I hope you all get the answers correct as well. So let's go ahead and check the answers. The first one, we plan to travel to London next year. So the option B is the correct one. Next, I'm afraid I don't recollect having an exam today. Again, option B is the correct one. Next was, Peter reminded me dash my medicine. This time option A is the correct one, to take. Peter reminded me to take my medicine. Next, we postponed dash until the following week. We postponed meeting. B is the correct option. So this was about verbs. Although we've discussed verbs, but if still you have some doubts, consult your teacher or read the workbook. Now let's talk about pronouns. Remember anything about pronouns? Okay, let's revise them. What are pronouns? The words that are used to take the place of one or more nouns are called pronouns. That is, pronoun is a word which you can use instead of a noun. It is a substitute for a noun. It may stand for a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. So it can substitute any kind of a noun, a person, a place, thing, animal, or an idea. Now do you get to remember what was pronoun? Right? Words like I, you, me, they, it, they were all pronouns. Let's briefly talk about the types of pronouns. We had done about personal pronouns, reflexive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, indefinite pronouns, interrogative pronouns. What were personal pronouns? The personal pronouns are used to replace nouns that refer to people, like I, she, he, they, me, we. All these are personal pronouns. What was reflexive pronoun? Reflexive pronouns are pronouns that are used to state the subject is performing the action. You usually use the word self or selves with these pronouns. For example, myself, herself, themselves, yourself, ourself. All these words are examples of reflexive pronoun. Now do you remember? Good. Next, the demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrate something is to show something, to display something. So demonstrative pronouns are like that, this, those, these, because these words demonstrate or show, indicate what you're talking about. Pass me that book. Which book? That book. So it's a demonstration. Next, we have talked about indefinite pronouns. The indefinite pronouns may look like an adjective, but it is used differently in a sentence. The examples of indefinite pronouns are everybody, everyone, nobody, somebody, someone. And remember, these pronouns are taken as a singular noun. The everybody is not considered plural. It should be considered singular, as a single body. And last, we did the interrogative pronouns. Interrogative means a question. So interrogative pronouns would relate to some kind of questioning pronouns, like which. Which movie are you talking about? Which becomes the interrogative pronoun. What, who, whom. These are words which actually ask a question. They actually inquire something, and so they fall into the interrogative pronouns. Now this was something about pronouns. Let's go ahead, open up your workbooks again to the exercise on pronouns. Now you need to select the correct option. Fill in the blank with the correct option. Number 1, she decided to live by dash in New York City. She decided to live by dash in New York City. The options are her or herself. Next, If you happen to see your parents this weekend, give dash my regards. If you happen to see your parents this weekend, give dash my regards. The options are him, her, them. Him, her, them. Next, I can't understand dash when she speaks German with dash. There are two blanks here. I can't understand dash when she speaks German with dash. The first option is her, comma, me. That means her is for the first blank, me for the second. Or him, comma, me. Now be careful, read the sentence, only then would you come to know which option fits in. Next, he should be ashamed of dash. He should be ashamed of dash. The options are himself or him. Let's start with the solutions now. The first was she decided to live by herself in New York City. So the correct answer is B, herself. Next, if you happen to see your parents this weekend, give them my regards, because you're talking about both the mother and the father. So it has to be them. Next, I can't understand her when she speaks German with me. Now, why have we used her? Because in the latter part of the sentence it says she speaks. Therefore, she means a feminine, a female gender. That's why we've used her. Next, he should be ashamed of himself. A, the first option is correct. So this was about pronouns. I hope that you have a good knowledge of pronouns by now. Let's move on to the next part of speech that we have already covered. It is interjections. Now, interjection is an exclamatory word that expresses your emotion, your feeling. And if you remember, I had told you they do not have a grammatical importance in the sentence. They're just used to add a feeling or an emotion to the sentence. What were the different interjections we had discussed? Hurrah. Hurrah is used for? Yeah, when you're very happy, you say, hurrah, I achieved the target. Or bravo, well done. And what do you say when you're very sad? You say hurrah? No, you say alas or oh no. You're sad, you're not happy. And what do you say when you feel a pain or when someone hurts you? Ouch. Don't you say ouch? Ouch, you stepped on my foot. So these were what we call interjections, which express a feeling or an emotion. Then we had covered what are adjectives. Do you remember anything about adjectives? Why do we need an adjective? Where do we use an adjective? An adjective is a word that is used to add something to the meaning of a noun. We generally use an adjective before a noun because it describes a noun or tells us more about a noun. We had done different kinds of adjectives, like the adjective of quality, the adjective of quantity, and numeral adjectives, demonstrative adjectives, interrogative, and then possessive adjectives. If you remember, adjective of quality was something which answers the question of what kind. Then adjective of quantity answered the question. Right, good. How much? Numeral adjective, how many? Demonstrative, which one? Interrogative, asking a question. Possessive, whose is this book? Telling about the person to whom a thing belongs to. Let's go ahead and then talk about the degrees of adjectives. The adjectives have 3 degrees: a positive degree, a comparative degree, and now I'm waiting for you people to tell me. Right, superlative degree. Now, I'll give you a word and we'll try and check all the degrees of that word. Tall, T-A-L-L. The positive degree is tall itself. What would be the comparative degree? Remember, you use the comparative degree to have a comparison between 2 people or 2 objects. Comparative would be taller, very good. And the superlative, something which is too good, too much. It would be tallest. So tall, taller, tallest. The comparative degree is used to compare. Ram is taller than Sham. You are comparing them. And the superlative is to show that this person has the maximum amount of a quality. Like Ram is the tallest boy in the class. This time you are comparing him with the entire class. That's why it is the superlative degree. Let's go ahead and try some exercise on adjectives. You need to pick out the adjectives in the following statements. I'll read out the sentence and quickly underline the adjective. She was a remarkably clever woman. She was a remarkably clever woman. Next, follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Next, I love my new paint box. The yellow is really bright. I love my new paint box. The yellow is really bright. Next, the stories she told at dinner were hilariously funny. The stories she told at dinner were hilariously funny. Next, I'll cook my evening meal on Wednesday. I'll cook my evening meal on Wednesday. So have you finished the exercise? Those of you who haven't, be quick. There are hardly 5 sentences I've given you. Right, good. Let's discuss the solutions now. She was a remarkably clever woman. Now ask this question. What kind of a woman was she? A remarkably clever. So clever is the quality the woman had. Clever becomes the adjective. Next, follow the yellow brick road. Now which words tell you about the quality of the road? First, yellow, and second, brick. Both these words tell you about the quality or the feature of the road. So yellow and brick are the adjectives. Next, I love my new paint box. The yellow is really bright. So what are the features of the paint box? It is new. New becomes the first adjective. And what is the quality of the yellow color? It is very bright, right? So new and bright are the two adjectives. Next, the stories she told at dinner were hilariously funny. So what kind of stories did she tell? Really funny stories. Funny becomes the adjective. Next, I'll cook my evening meal on Wednesday. Now, what are the two words that tell you about the meal? First thing, it is an evening meal. And whose meal it is? My meal. So, evening and my are the two adjectives. Now, let's go ahead and talk about adverbs. What are adverbs? An adverb is a word that adds something to the meaning of a verb. It tells you more about what the verb is trying to do. An adjective or another adverb, and it tells us how a thing is done. So adverb means adding something more to the meaning of a verb or an adjective, or it could also be another adverb. Now it tells us how a thing is done, when it is done, or where it is done. So it actually helps your verbs and your adjectives and gives more meaning to these parts of speech. What were the different kinds of adverbs? We had talked about simple adverbs, interrogative adverbs and relative adverbs. I hope you remember all three. If not, now it's your job to study. Let's start with a small exercise and then we'll move on to the next part of speech. Now in this exercise, you need to pick out the adverbs in the sentence. Need to find out which is the adverb in the sentence. The first sentence. Slowly and surely the strongest women moved the huge rock. Now try and check which are the adverbs, which are the words that are helping your verbs or adjectives. Slowly and surely the strongest women moved the huge rock. Next, stand here and don't move. Stand here and don't move. This is a kind of command. You tell someone, stand here and don't move. Next, I wish I were a mile away. I wish I were a mile away. So they were just 3 sentences. I hope you've underlined the adverbs. Let's just cross check with the solutions. The first one, slowly and surely the strongest women moved the huge rock. Now, which are the words that describe the verb? They moved it. How did they move it? Slowly and surely. So the words slowly and surely are the adverbs. Good. Next, stand here and don't move. In this sentence, here becomes the adverb. Next, I wish I were a mile away. Out here, away becomes your adverb. Next, now we come over to prepositions. What is a preposition? A preposition is a word which shows the relation between a noun or a pronoun or some other word in a sentence. Without the preposition, the sentence would look incomplete. The kinds of preposition. We had discussed the preposition of time. For example, you need to reach that place by 5 o'clock. By becomes the preposition of time. Then preposition of place. We had discussed if you want to refer to a specific place, you can use the preposition of place. She came to the office. To becomes the preposition in this case. Preposition of motion. For example, if you say throw the stone into the water. Now, as we've done exercises for each part of speech, so will we do for prepositions as well. There are sentences given and you need to pick out the preposition in the sentences. The first sentence, come along, I haven't all day to waste. Come along, I have not all day to waste. Next, be quick with that coffee. It means that, just have the coffee very quickly. Be quick with that coffee. Next, she was a lovely child with masses of curly hair. She was a lovely child with masses of curly hair. We'll just check. Let's start with the solutions. The first sentence, come along, I haven't all day to waste. Come along, come with me. So along becomes your preposition. Next, be quick with that coffee. With is the preposition in this sentence. Next, she was a lovely child with masses of curly hair. Again, even in this sentence, with becomes your preposition. This was about prepositions. Now we'll go ahead and discuss the last part of speech that we are left with, conjunctions. What were conjunctions? A conjunction is a joining word. It joins words or group of words or even sentences. For example, she is a good girl. She is my best friend. Now, if you want to join these two sentences, you can join them by using the conjunction and. She is a good girl and is my best friend. So conjunctions help you to join words, phrases or sentences. Let's go ahead, do a little exercise on conjunctions to make it easier for us to know about them. Now the exercise says you need to pick out the conjunctions in the sentences. Find out which is the conjunction. The first sentence, she did not reply, nor did she make any gesture. She did not reply, nor did she make any gesture. Next, we rested until the storm was over and we felt better. We rested until the storm was over and we felt better. Next, either accept our conditions or leave. Either accept our conditions or leave. I hope you've underlined the conjunctions in all the sentences. Let's go through the solutions quickly. The first one, She did not reply, nor did she make any gesture. Nor, N-O-R, is the conjunction here because it's joining two sentences, two different thoughts. Next, we rested until the storm was over and we felt better. Very simple, and is the conjunction. It is joining two different sentences. First sentence, we rested until the storm was over. That was the first. And second is, we felt better. Both of them are joined by using and. Next, either accept our conditions or leave. In this case, or is your conjunction. So this was about conjunctions and all about your parts of speech. Try thinking, try using these things in your practical life, and I'm sure your grammar would improve, the way you speak would improve a lot. So until next session, keep learning, keep working hard, and bye-bye.